So, guys? It's your host, Mike. Let me clear my throat podcast. Hope everybody's having a good evening tonight. I just wanted to hop on with a couple of quick takes uh, with sports and things that's going on. A lot of things going on. It's been really busy in the sports world. Uh, but I got a couple of things in my mind. Start with the Grizzlies. Talking about the Grizzlies, a little bit about the Memphis Tigers and their visits. Uh, Memphis Tiger basketball. Uh, also, some NIL, and I have a college football playoff idea that I'm curious what you guys, the fans, might think about this idea, and just kind of in general with basketball and football, the narratives that we create in sports, the things that we say but we don't really mean, uh, things like that, uh, that really kind of drives sports media and views and clicks and things like that. But I just want to talk a little bit, just slightly about that. And first things first, handling home business. Memphis Grizzlies, disappointing loss on Tuesday night, on last night versus Golden State. Um, a valiant effort by the Grizzlies. Definitely show a lot of grit, a lot of grind, but uh, the same things that we've been dealing with all season reared its head in this game as well. So, and I guess in a way, it's not surprising that we lost the game, but at the same time, it's irritating and frustrating because team, we play so well, but then we come up short. And a lot of times it's because some of the coaching decisions or just poor play in general, turnovers. This was not a well officiated game at all. A lot of missed calls for both teams. Golden State got some favorable calls. We got a couple favorable calls, but I mean, it was just hard. It was just bad. Um, but we have an opportunity on Friday at home. Jaron Jackson Jr. has bought some tickets. I think for the first couple of hundred fans that show up. So we know that it's going to be a sellout crowd for that game, and it's going to be a fun atmosphere. And we play Sacramento or um, whether we play Sacramento or Dallas, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, and I really don't have a particular preference as to who we play. It really doesn't matter. We just need to get a win. I mean, we blew out Dallas, but they didn't really play their roster. Uh, Ja twisted his ankle, unfortunately, or injured his ankle, so he's hobbled. So, I'm curious as to how he's going to feel going into this game. Um, but we really, really need Jaron Jackson to step up. And these fouls that he's getting, it's just sloppy. I just feel like we're not playing as a team disciplined basketball. And Ti's kind of put in a difficult situation, but I think hopefully in the off season we look at potential coaching candidates like Mike Malone. Hopefully we give Jeff Van Gundy a call. He is currently, I believe, with on staff with the Clippers, with Jeff Van Gundy, and I'm pretty sure Ti is going to be in consideration as well. But I hope we um, do our due diligence with bringing in a new coach, Sam Cassell, Mark Jackson, whomever, somebody that can just take us to the next level. Uh, just watching the game, replaying the game in my head, you know, at times I just feel like we need to, from a coaching perspective, we need to be more flexible in our rotations, in our lineups. You know, sometimes we to Jaren Jackson Jr. to play like Bam, like how the Miami Heat used Bam out of Bayou. Uh, Sometimes we have to play like the Warriors. You know, whatever we got to do to match up against the other team. Zach Edey, I love what he's doing so far. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Rebound, clog the lane, uh, dunk the ball. I wish he not be so hesitant as soon as he catches the ball and just dunk it and not try to, pump fake or whatever. Just dunk the ball. Just go straight back up with it. But he'll get better. Most definitely, he'll get better, and he will improve for sure as he continues. And we're already missing Jalen Wells and his defensive presence and shooting ability. Um, but we need to purge the Grizz roster of just the non-essentials. Odama has really struggled defensively. Uh, we're playing Conchar. I don't know if that's just a comfort level substitution or what. And we got Kennard. We paid Kennard somewhere upwards of 10 to 11 million. And quite frankly, I don't see it. I'm not seeing a return on investment. Uh, he's a good player. He's a good shooter, but I I believe, just my opinion, that we need to replace at least those three guys with Gigi Stevenson and Vince Williams. Which Vince Williams, I don't know where he was. He didn't play, and but this year he doesn't seem himself as the defensive stopper that we know that he can be, or defensive agitator that he can be. Because we really are lacking on defense. But if we replace those three guys with GG and get his confidence level back, with Stevenson, Vince Williams, insert a little Cam Spencer in there, uh, or a free agent veteran dog. Like, I really like what the Knicks did when they brought in PJ Tucker, because they knew they were getting ready to go into a physical series with Detroit, so they added a little bit of muscle to their roster. And so PJ Tucker, I'm sure it's going to be used. Thibs is going to find a way to use him to be a disruptor, um, of whatever Detroit throws at him. But all bets are off when it comes to the playoffs. If you're not, if you don't believe you can win and you're in the playoffs, you don't deserve to play. You don't deserve to see the floor. And so it's not about egos. It's not about how many minutes you play, how many points you score. It's about winning the game. Just win the game. Um, but I hope we can rebound from this, and I think we will rebound from this. I believe we'll win on Friday, and we'll go into OKC and we'll just give it our best shot. I mean, the one thing that we can say, having played Golden State on a number of occasions, uh, is them being champions of being the standards of championship basketball is, we have a chance. And even though we were the 2 seed, majority or top four in the West, the majority of the season, and we fell way off um, into the play-in. I think going into the season, in the very beginning, we were projected to be in the play-in anyway, and and being 1-2 with OKC at points during this season, I mean, we would have matched up against them if we're playing our best basketball. We would have been matched up with OKC in the Western Conference Final. That's if we stay healthy, if we play our best basketball, if we did everything we were supposed to do, coach making the right moves, doing all those things, we play a perfect basketball. We probably would have seen OKC in the Western Conference Finals. Uh, but we didn't, and now we see them potentially in the first round. So we still have a lot to cheer for, Memphis fans. Grizzlies, let's show up, let's show out, let's still support the team, believe in the team. Hopefully, John Morant can quickly recover in this game. Now, going on to the Tigers, real quickly, the Tigers basketball program, men's basketball. Uh, I've really enjoyed Penny on different podcasts like the Pivot and just talking about again just growing up in Memphis, his family, uh, giving back to the community and his love for the city of Memphis. Really enjoyed that. They're out recruiting um, aggressively. We already had transfer guard and Patino, and uh, we have Vieira Tuck that already committed during the season. But in the transfer portal, we have Quante Berry from Temple, 6'4" guard, Julius Stedford, 6'4" guard from Memphis, played ball in Whitehaven and Cordova, transferring from Western Kentucky, and wanted to come home and play. Wanted to come back home and play for his hometown team. So a lot of respect to that. Uh, I believe he knows it's a tall order to come home and play in front of your hometown uh, team and your family, your friends. Uh, there's a lot of weight that comes with that, but I know that he has tremendous support. I'm sure he will get tremendous support from other former players that put on the Tiger uniform, and as well, Penny himself being the coach. Um, Ashton Hardaway uh, recommits, and he's coming back from St. Mary's, and I really like how he's coming back motivated. Uh, he's going to show what he's learned um, at St. Mary's, and this sounds like a different Ashton Hardaway. Sounds like a just a more polished, developed Ashton Hardaway. He's going to have opportunity to showcase his game, and look forward to seeing that. And then we have some visits. Aaron Bradshaw, Chris Parker. Watched a little bit of their highlights, and there's so many players in the portal. There's so many players that have been tied to the Memphis Tigers. It's hard to keep up. Um, but hopefully we grab these two. And there's another guy from McNeese, I believe Sincere Parker is his name. He's a 6'3". Yeah, Sincere Parker from, transferring from McNeese State. uh, that is in for a visit. But got a lot of players, good transfer portal um, uh, players coming in. Seems to be a lot of focus on the guard play and wings. They can come in. PJ Carter, who transferred from the University of Memphis, I believe he was set up or scheduled a visit, I believe, with University of Central Florida. And I'm just curious as to, the players that did put their name in the portal, like a Koji, PJ Carter. Curious to see where Mikey Williams lands. Uh, Curious to see where some of the Memphis transfers, players that are from Memphis that uh, played at different schools and they put their name in the transfer portal and where they land this year. Um, Guys like Amar Knox, where are they going to play ball? The NIL aspect of it all is very, very, very interesting. Uh, it's a perfect segue into the Nico situation with the Tennessee quarterback. But I believe there was a report that one All American, I cannot think of his name, but I believe he played for St. John's, but he was getting offers like $3 million um, just as a starting point. So I can imagine PJ Haggerty, who hasn't declared for the draft, who hasn't declared, who hasn't not entered into the transfer portal, which is, I believe, are all good signs that he's going to return to the Tigers. But I can imagine that his starting point, as far as NIL money is concerned, will probably be in the same range of $3 million. Um, Dane Danger, I don't know. I don't know what his market would be, but I'm sure he'll probably re up too if he is granted a waiver for another year with the Tigers. If that's possible, he'd be a welcome back to the Tigers. Hopefully, we can get a decision quickly on whether uh, he's he decides to whether he comes back or not. I think he'd be great. Again, running it back for the Tigers, and I think he should because I mean there have been a whole bunch of players, and on the football side and on the basketball side, have gotten multiple years and waivers uh, to be able to play. So, hey, why not? Let him. Give him one more year if he feels entitled to do so. Hopefully that'll happen. Um, but there's a Nico. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name, but the quarterback for Tennessee, I think all three levels, all three, Nico, Tennessee, and the NCAA are all to blame for this. The question that I see posted a lot on Twitter is did NIL ruin college sports? And my answer is no. I am very pro NIL. I believe the players should get paid for for name, image, and likeness. They should get a piece of the pot, but the failure is in the leadership for not just having enough wisdom, foresight, or a cap on how much a player should make, or would just they just didn't seem like they thought that through. And so now what we're seeing is GMs, uh, the position of a GM being formed on college campuses all across, and I think they should be primarily former players. We see a lot of that. Uh, Former players taking on the role of GMs uh, of college football, and it should be for not for it should be for basketball, football, different, you know, different departments from an administrative standpoint. I believe Terrence Mann, who is a GM, said that players that are like averaging like 5 points a game, are asking for, $500,000. And I believe his quote was, or paraphrasing his quote, that you're just not that good. You're not good enough to make 500,000. You only average 5 points a game, and you're putting yourself in the transfer portal, trying to get picked up. And then another thing about the transfer portal, this is my idea. This is my thoughts. I think you should only be in the transfer portal, enter the transfer portal twice. No 3, 4, and 5 times in the transfer portal. I think that's ridiculous. I think no more than 2 times you can enter the transfer portal. And I think I think it should be, a guaranteed scholarships. You got to treat the players like professional players, like NFL players. Treat them like coaches. Have their contracts have guarantees and non-guarantees. Have incentive bonuses in there. Let's say you got a player and you decide to pay him, um, let's say 500,000 for your scholarship. Um, but a percentage of that 500,000 NIL money is not guaranteed. Let's say 250,000 is guaranteed, and the remaining is more incentive based. If it's perfect attendance in class, or GPA, or you had 10 sacks for the season, or 50 catches for XYZ amount of yards, some incentive uh to receive the money fully. I think that can be uh a nice catch up or get up for NIL. And then, you're always going to have players, coaches, family members, agents that just have ulterior motives. And looking at this Nico situation, I feel like he falls under that category where, it might not be Nico himself, but his family, uh, whoever is managing him, feels like he is deserving of 4 million as opposed to the 2 million he was getting at Tennessee. I mean, that's his opinion based on whatever evaluation they feel is appropriate. But um, now Nico's name is kind of been rubbed in the mud, and not too many schools are reaching out to him, not or willing to offer him $4 million. It has been reported that UCLA is interested, and some even have him as committed to UCLA. And from their camp, they're saying it's more had more to do with playing style as opposed to money. Whatever is true, whatever is not true when it comes to that reporting, it, whatever. Uh, for Tennessee and those that are coming out behind and supporting Coach Heupel, there's a coach in Miami who's very strong, who has some strong statements. Um, you got Feinbaum, who's had some strong statements. Of course, you've had Nick Saban with strong statements as regards to NIL in this situation. You can look up what they've said uh, on at your own time, but all of them are on the side of Tennessee. And I mean, who's the quarterback of Tennessee now? You know, you just lost your best chance of having a successful season, Tennessee Vols. There could have been a way to smooth this over without it get reaching this far. I mean, these conversations should have happened back when they were in the playoffs. Uh, because my understanding, based on the reporting, is that Nico wanted to re up then or hold out then, and not just him, but several players on the team were uh, wanting to hold out. So, you know, all of this could have been resolved months ago, several months ago. And so for it to last this long, and now we're at the point where we're getting ready for spring football, summer camp, getting ready for fall. Here we are. Um, at the end of the day, I hope Nico gets what he wants. And, I hope all college football athletes uh, get what they want. And, the real the real issue is just greed. And greed is not a word that you're going to hear a lot in sports, social media. You're not going to hear the word greed, but when is enough enough? I mean, you're a Tennessee Vol fan and you love the Vols, whether you're Arkansas, Ole Miss, whatever school you support, Tigers. As just a fan, you work hard for the money that you work for, whatever job you do, and you have college players complaining about how much they're not making, and some fans take offense to it. Some fans are supportive of it, but if you're just a diehard fan of your team and you just love your team that much, I can see how frustrating, this could be. Um, so we'll see what Tennessee does. Right now it looks like they don't have a quarterback. Um, and I'm sure they have backups, but not at the level that Nico was playing. And I believe he was going into his sophomore, his second or third, and took Tennessee to the playoffs. So, his play elevated Tennessee to the point where, they were making bukus of money. Now, who knows how much they're going to make, So fans can be fickle. If you're losing, they won't show up to games. I remember watching the Florida game. I don't know who they were playing, can't remember, but I've always, anytime I watch SEC football, the stadiums are full, empty. I mean, full, packed. And there were times this year, these big major schools, Power Five programs, Power Four programs, where stadiums look just dry. They weren't full. They weren't packed. And it was because at that time, team was losing. You got to have players. You got to have some skills, some athletes, to put out there on the field if you're going to win games. Um, which leads me to the college football playoff, which I don't believe I started my podcast before, or it was probably a month after. But my opinion of the playoff, I didn't like how long it was. It just extended further and further uh, into like close to February. I think January 20th, the championship game was. It was just a lot of bye weeks and a lot of time elapsed in between the I guess last game or championship week to the playoff. So I thought that could have been a little bit shorter. And I mean, there just wasn't a lot of star power to me, in my opinion. But real briefly, quickly, um, the playoff, I think it should be the Power Four tournament, playoff tournament, and that should be like the college national championship. I think we need to quit saying we're going to give space to the little guy or that non-power five school, and we're going to give them a chance to get in the tournament. When in all actuality, they really don't. They say that we keep saying we're going to give the little guy, we're going to give the Boise States and the Memphises a chance, and the Tulanes and Army and all these little colleges a chance in the major playoff, and then we end up complaining about how poor they were matched up against Clemson and how poorly they were matched up against Penn State and Notre Dame and Ohio State. Let's just keep it your Power Four top 12, your Power Four top 12, and then in your national championship game, and then you have a separate tournament, a separate playoff for non-Power Five or non-Power Four schools. So if we were to just recap or look at the top 25 national championship, this is Power Four. It will be Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Georgia, Arizona State, Tennessee, Indiana, Ole Miss, SMU, and BYU. That will be your tournament. Those will be your top. Those are your top 12. That's from last year. And then your non-power five and a completely separate tournament for we just call it the NCAA Collegiate Football Tournament or Championship. I mean, think of it from a WWE. You got what the WWE Championship, and you got the Universal Championship. You got all these titles. Um, you can why not apply that to uh football? In college basketball, we got the NIT and we got the CIB. You have all these, you know, tournaments and championships and playoffs. The same, I believe, can be applied to college football. So, on your non-power five, you will have Boise State, Army, UNLV, Memphis, Navy, Jacksonville State, Ohio, Marshall, University of Lafayette, Miami of Ohio, Sam Houston State University, and Tulane. You have your conference champions and the non-power four schools compete more, and you have your at large teams, um, which will most likely be the top two teams in each of the non-power four teams. Have them in a tournament, playoff tournament, just like you would your college national championship, your power four, who are considered the best of the best, um, in their tournament. So you have two separate championship teams. Tell me what your thoughts are, and you think this is a good idea. I think this is a perfect opportunity, a huge money grab. Something that's different should be considered because each and every year we're going to be complaining and talking about these small teams and saying, hyping them up, saying, "Oh, we want them in the tournament. We want to give them a shot. We want Cinderellas. We want this. We want that." And then as soon as we get there, when we were making a decision, we're saying, "Oh, such and such didn't get there because of strength of schedule. Such and such didn't get there because they didn't win by XYZ amount of points and everything." Forget all that. They'll be in a whole nother tournament, hold the playoff all by themselves. They have already have the FCS, just have two separate tournaments. One part of the Power Four, which is the ACC, Big 12, SEC, the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC, and then everybody else just underneath that, your non-Power 5 or non-Power 4. I don't know why I keep messing that up. But let me know what your thoughts are, what you think. I think it'll be a good opportunity to make more money. Hopefully, the TV contracts come in and it'll be a level playing field for some of these schools. Uh, so they have, you know, a chance to compete. And, NIL money. Players make more money by the more games they play, the more meaningful games they play. And, the bowl games have some value to them because bowl games have gotten kind of boring now. So, you know, just something to think about. I think it'll be a nice idea and a nice addition to college football. That's all I got in my on my mind and my thoughts. Let me clear my throat. Quick update. Oh, I cannot I cannot close this podcast without highlighting the WNBA. And I'm just gonna say this real quick. Shout out to all the players who got drafted. But the player that I am interested in the most, and I'm looking forward to the most, is Dominique Malonga. She's the center. She was picked number 2 to the Seattle Storm, and she is 6'6", from France. And if you go and you watch her highlights, I mean, she is dunking the ball with ease. And I hope that more and more players uh, dunk the ball, WNBA players. I'm pretty sure she's not the only one, but I think it would be cool if we saw more dunks from WNBA players from our women in our women's game. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm looking forward to seeing how she does. I mean, of course, viewership is going to explode uh, if we see more dunks in the women's game and more efficient scoring, shooting the ball. Uh, but hopefully, we get to see that this upcoming season. All right, guys, that's all I got. Let me get my throat. Let Me Clear My Throat podcast. Again, it's me, Mike. Like, subscribe, leave your comments, suggestions, anything that you feel like you want to talk about, or you want me to talk about. Please put it in the comments, or just send me a message. You can also find me on Facebook, Mike, uh, on Facebook. Just change the profile picture to John Morant. So if you're looking for me, you know exactly where to find me. Again, everybody have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Don't be sorry. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Be well. And peace.